Good evening and welcome to the Muddy Creek Podcast. I'd like to welcome everyone back. And before we get started, I wanted to say hello to some folks in the chat tonight. I'm glad you guys jumped in. I'm sure you'll have a ton of questions for Navajo Don. We have two Dons tonight. We got Gunner Don from Maine and Navajo Don from Idaho, the Four Corners area. I want to give a shout out to Gary. Thank you, Gary. For all you do, and William and Pat and all my mods. So good to see you, Gary. We got Tammy and Denise in tonight. We got Dog. Hey, Dog. We got William from Louisiana tonight. Patrick and our mods, Pat. And by the way, if you guys haven't checked it out, Pat, I got a really interesting video of the LBL, and that's probably one of the best I've seen. I just seen the clip of it, didn't get home in time to see the whole thing, so I'm sure we're going to see more of that to come out. So tonight we have Don from the Four Corners. Don tracks Sasquatch through the Navajo land. He also is going to hit on some paranormal and some we're going to go anything from paranormal to Bigfoot to little people and some other strange events that happened. It took him a lot to come out of his shell. He's really, really nervous tonight. So, yes, my buddy Navajo Don. I'm sure you guys are going to make him feel really welcome and ask him a lot of questions. He is, we got Sassy and Jeff. Jeff O-Line Cryptids has jumped in. So I'm sure you guys, Bobby, hey Bobby, how you doing, sweetie? And I'm sure that you guys ask him a lot of questions. So Don, let's get started tonight with a little bit of your history. Then let's just jump right into tracking Sasquatch.
Hello, everybody. It's my first live, and it's nice to meet everybody. And you guys are nice looking today. Nice to meet you guys. I hope everyone's okay out there, over the hill or not. My name is Don Yazzie. I come from the Navajo Nation, and that's the borders of Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. And, growing up my whole life, we're just so used to the paranormal, just like it's like, it's just another normal day for us, seeing ghosts and experiencing hauntings, different houses, different areas, the ruins, different places have their own different unique hauntings and, visitations and all that. And, like a lot of times growing up, we have something trying to get inside the trailer, even inside my great grandmother's house. And we are always told to keep quiet because, they'd be hitting on the house or the trailer. Then my grandmother or my aunts would say, "Be quiet." They're checking to see how many women and children are inside. We couldn't cry, we couldn't let out anything, and then these things would try to open the door, and it got really bad where this thing would really, trying to get my great grandmother, and my uncle would come down from Moab, Utah, and he would show up. Like during the morning, he would sleep during the day, and as soon as the evening comes, he sat back in the middle room. I had a window open, the old 80s, 70s trailers, how it's skinny, the window.
Yeah.
So he sat back in that middle room in the closet where it slides, the old sliding door. He opened the window and he sat back in that closet, and he left that closet door open, where he can see. And he had a bull mastiff. Her name was Suma, very smart dog, tough dog too. And he was just chilling there waiting, and he said he felt a cool breeze. A cool breeze just come through, hit him right in the face, and he was out. He went to sleep. He said he can't explain sleep, right? And next thing you know, his dog was headbutting him in the head, licking him in the face, crying, headbutting. He came to, and then his dog was looking towards the doorway, and he looked that way too. And what he said was he seen a long black hairy arm reaching through like almost halfway the room. and it stuck its head and one shoulder into the window. It was trying to get in. It stuck its head out, not the other side in, and it was trying to get in. And he said that he's seen its face. He said it looked like a gorilla, exactly like a silverback gorilla. What he said, and he jumped back in the corner of the closet. He went, ugh! He yelled and he kicked open that door. And he threw his dog. This dog turned into a torpedo. Boom! He said it tackled, that gorilla. He called it. And then they rolled outside, and he said they were fighting. And he ran to the window. He said they were both rolling towards underneath the truck. And he was making his way down the hallway, and he was hitting from wall to wall. Remember how the skinny hallways are in those trailers, right? So he was stumbling all the way down, and my great grandmother was yelling at that, what are you doing? It's late. What are you doing? And he made it to the doorway finally. And he turned on the light. He had a flashlight, and he seen like a black hairy thing rolling with his dog underneath the truck, and he heard his dog scream. And his dog crawled out from the truck, and he shined his light behind the truck, and this thing was already hauling butt down the road. He said the dirt
Wow.
was coming up. This thing was flying, and he said he had his British 30-30, a 30-30 rifle. He aimed down that way. This is an old World War. I think it was World War I gun. It's a very old gun, and he aimed down that way. He knew that last hill where it was going to go, then it's going to go down to a wash, and that wash empties out into Lake Powell to towards west towards Navajo Mountain. And it was screaming. He let his he released the he sent that bullet, and he heard that bullet connect. He said it hit right in back of the head. This thing made a real loud connect noise. And he said that bullet started spinning in the air, and it was on fire, and it was whistling as it was spinning up.
Wow.
And he said that thing just screamed.
After it ricocheted off its head.
Yeah, in the back of the head. So that hill is probably like about 400, 300 yards away, I would say, right? Yeah, 300 yards away. And this thing was screaming. We're all familiar with that scream, that horrible scream, the guttural woman, screaming murder. So, growing up as a child, we hear that all the time. And our elders will say, hey, that's the skinwalker. When you hear that, that means you're going to die. It's coming for you. It's going to kill you. It's going to consume you. And then our tribe down south of us, the Hopis, they call a Sasquatch Masawu. He hands out death. He's the giver of life or death. And if he's screaming, walking towards you, he's taking you out. He's gonna eat you. And
were you told about these creatures as children before you had an experience?
Yeah. A lot of times it tells us don't go outside at night. Don't go outside, especially when the moon is full, because these creatures love to go traverse the terrain while the moon is full. And then by daytime, they like to stay underground because we have miles of underground tunnels, cave systems, caverns that go who knows how far. And one point in time, we actually used them, to escape the flood from the last destruction of the last world. And the ant people are still down there. The Anasazi used to worship them. And what you call the ant people are the ETs, the almond eyes. So they actually live in the earth too. So you got to be careful when you get into the wrong cave, because one cave could be for the lizard people, one cave can be for the skinwalkers, one cave could be for Sasquatch, the other cave could be for Centaur, the other cave could be for the giants, the 6-toe ones. There's each mountains. If you really do research this whole Southwest, all these mountains shouldn't really be here, because they're all from volcanoes. They uprise from the earth going up. And there's a lot of empty cavities. And
So, paramedic made, hey, he had one question, then he had a comment. His question was, how far away was the closest neighbor when you were talking about the mobile home? And then he said, it seems like the aggressive ones know when help is far off. So this was the Sasquatch or a dogman?
They're both the same, but just different cousins. Both the same thing. Like for so the nearest neighbor would be about 2 miles away, 3 miles away. Yep,
Yeah, he
and this
said
is
they
the
kind of seem
time.
to be more aggressive when they know help's not. But you've had some activity we go in later where you've actually have seen them take their bodies or what could have been the bodies away in bags. But we'll get to that a little later. So you're talking about the underground
Um,
channels under the mountains
Caves.
and
Yeah,
and
and it all goes into the Grand Canyon. It connects to the Grand Canyon, and it goes deeper, deep inside. And when you're running around at night, and if these things take you, they're gonna take you down in those cave systems, and you're never gonna be found again. And if you go down there, you're gonna see different clothing material, different shoes, different toys,
probably from
different
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 timelines and
eras. Yep, different eras of timelines. You're gonna find that there, and that's when you gotta turn around and get out of there. And there's also the rake, that pale creature with the backwards limbs. So they like to drag cows inside of there, and they consume the cow, and they're in complete darkness. So there's a lot of big no-nos, especially when it comes to caves.
so you're really cautious about what you spoke with because it kind of spoke about because it kind of goes against the grain, but you feel like it should be talked about. And one of the thing in the Four Corners area, a lot of that it's not a big city; it's open areas, and so there's a lot of things that are saw and experienced there that doesn't get out. And from talking to you earlier when we were both guests on another podcast is almost like a common occurrence with the folks around there. But David wants to know where you're from again.
Magical place called Monument Valley, Utah and Arizona border.
So when you're getting so as you're growing up and you're getting the well, you're having experiences also. Was that the only activity that ever happened in that small trailer?
No, no. My great grandma was alive a few times. She would sleep on the couch near the front door. The front door had a little mailbox thing where you open. So
Mhm.
a few times where some skinwalkers would come by, and they would put like a long wire inside of there, and they would put it on her hair, and they'd twist it and take a piece of her hair or her clothes or our clothes or our hair, because we'd be missing patches of hair or some of our clothes because our own family used to are witches. We come from witches because we had to be with skinwalkers just to survive that genocide, because all these tribes here in the United States government, the Utes, the Mormons, the Mexicans, all came against us one time, and we had to do what we had to survive. And while we're out there, running in the dark, we brush shoulders with all kinds of things. Even I myself, spotlighting and driving late at night. I can't really explain to you the things I seen, but I can tell you what I seen because no one can take that from me, right? But all I
That's
can say
right.
is that I wasn't alone. I'm really thankful for that. But a few times I was alone, like I'm gonna lead you guys, but this is what I seen. and but yeah,
So when you're so going back to was she a target of the skinwalker or is that something they come through and they just randomly do that or how I mean how does the missing hair go with I mean I've heard it explained before but not from someone that's in the culture and living it. So I'm really intrigued by that. And I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you, but I find that intriguing.
oh no, you're good. You're good. Let me. Okay. And yeah, she was a target for her whole life. Um, her and her husband, they used to be shamans back in the day. They were medicine men and women by day, and at night they were skinwalkers. And in between there, they're alcoholics. So a lot of my family, where we come from, our family emblem is the lightning. You know, that's one of the symbols of the strongest medicine men and women. And if you research the lightning strike, you know, it goes all the way back to Thor, you know, the fallen angels, you know, Lucifer falling from the heaven from heaven to earth like a lightning. So like we're entrusted with a lot of teachings from the skies, you know, and she turned from uh, that religion, that cult, and when you betray, when you turn your back on them, that's blood because you bought yourself in with blood, and you have to repay blood out, whether it be you or your entire family or all your kids or the one you love the most, because that's how you get into it. You have to give the one you love the most to get into it. And you know, they really do offer that, you know, you want to learn more things, you want to learn, you want to have power. And if you say, yeah, you know, and it all leads to, you know, giving up your firstborn, especially your firstborn, and especially if he's a male, you know. And when they turn their backs on all that, you know, they had like about 15 kids, and only about 8 survived.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really, really bad, really horrible stories. And so growing up with that, you know, being shielded from that, and you know, even experiencing getting witched myself. You know, I couldn't eat anything for like about, I don't know how long it was. I couldn't drink anything. No one couldn't get close to me in the room. Well, like I'll be having nightmares 24/7, like I'm spinning around in circles. My grandma would open the door and then the spins would come faster. And my mom would come close to me to try to put her hands on me to pray for me. And the spins would get worse. And I would scream, get out. Everyone had to leave. Everyone had to be away from me. And the spins would slow down. And then when I would go to sleep, there'd be a Native American woman, older woman. She have a black and white pepper hair covering her face. And she had my hair, the tip of her hands like this, and she's spinning me around in circles laughing, and she's saying death chants, Navajo, over and over, you know, all these chanting. And I wake up from that nightmare screaming, and I'm still spinning, you know, and everyone's praying for me. They're trying to pray. And then, you know, like 3 days later, finally, my grandma passed away. Our family was being targeted by a famous, well-known man. You know, I'm not going to say his name in the area, but he's in films, he's in the documentary, you know. He's this really old Navajo guy, and he was the main guy that's behind all these witching around the areas from, shoot, who knows? You know, no one really knew how old he was because he lived off his own family, his own kids, his own great grandkids. They're dying left and right, and he's getting older and older and older. No one knows how old he is. And then whenever he would go into a grocery store, that's like the Red Sea would depart. And then all these
Wow.
teachers, yeah, all these teachers would be like, yeah, everyone respects him. You know, he's an old guy, this and that. You know, like you Mormons don't know. Everyone knows this guy's a skinwalker. That's why we're giving him 10 feet space. We don't want him to grab our shirt. We don't want him to touch. We don't want to touch hands. You know, because they have all kinds of tricks.
Now, where does he get that power from?
The consuming his family.
You're giving blood sacrifice to the ruler of this world, the darkness, the dark one. That's who the opponent is, the evil one, the dark one.
So So Patrick did have a question about the skinwalker, and he said, "Is it true they consume human flesh to become a skinwalker?"
Um, no, no. You have to do all kinds of rituals. You have to do all kinds of pacts with the ringleader and all the other initiates and with the ruler of this world.
Hmm.
So how did you keep yourself safe from all of that, Navajo Don?
Oh, my whole family always told us, they're gonna come and offer this. They're gonna tell you this because, like from my family when they became Christian, right? They forsaked all the ways. They met this one white dude in Keyenta, Arizona. He was speaking perfect Navajo, out from the Bible, and they seen it. They never heard words like that before. They're like, I have a chance to, to restart. I have a chance to be clean. And then they say, yeah, they went for it, and that's when they turned their back on the family. So the family started all coming after us, and you know, after a few kids passed away, my great grandfather had to have his horse tied up all the time. He had to have rifles all over the house just in case, if he seen one. It was that bad getting visited during the day. And my great grandmother was cooking one day in the kitchen, and she said she's telling him now, "Let go, go, go! There's someone running right by the window." He ran out the front door. The horse was tied up right by the door. He jumped on this door, and then he ran after this thing with his horse, and he shot it. He said right on the side, the gut. He heard the connect really loud, and it was giving off blood, and he was tracking it for like about a few miles into this wash where these huge bushes. They're really big, and they're probably like 12 feet tall, and he's getting closer and closer, and real big great bush. The horse did not go. The horse didn't was fighting him. Didn't want him past this last bush. He knew what it was, why it was doing it. So he tied his horse, on one of the other bushes. He walked around, got behind that bush, and behind that bush was a lady, long black hair, long black hair. She was naked, and her black hair was covering her breasts, her private areas, but along her neck she had sterling turquoise, rows and rows of jewelry, sterling silver. In her hands she had rings, bracelets, going all the way down, jewelry everywhere, her ears, and he came around there. She was telling him like Navajo saying, my son, please, don't tell anyone what you've seen today. Don't tell anyone what happened today. She's taking off her necklace, some bracelets, some rings. The whole time she had her head down, trying to give it to him. She's like, here, take it. It's okay, take it. All those jewelries that they have are from dead people. They rob the dead bodies, the caskets, and from those the dead bodies, they consume them, and the fingernails, the toenails, the teeth, they grind them up, and they use them for poison powder or to freeze you, to make you freeze in place. They blow it on you. You're frozen. They use your own fears against you.
Wow. So there was a movie called The Serpent and the Rainbow where they actually went over to I think it was South America, where they were trying to bring that back to America for medical study, but they would blow it in people's faces, and they couldn't move, they couldn't. I mean, it was almost like they died. Some of these people were being buried alive, and so I mean that's similar to that. But if you've never watched it, watch The Serpent and the Rainbow. A Little Twisted wanted to know if that was a Wendigo or a Skinwalker, and I had another
Um,
question here.
we don't have Wendigos out here. We have Skinwalkers. They're
Um,
Navajo medicine men that can shapeshift to any form
so
or any creature.
Riley always puts a word up there I can't. It says, why do people avoid saying the name Ye Na? Okay, Riley,
She
can you
she
read
has to
that?
spell it. She has to spell it right first off. It's yeah,
Okay.
yeah, not loshi, and I'm
What's the
not
deal
afraid
with
to
that?
say it. It just translates to Skinwalker. That's all. Yeah, not loshi. Yeah, that means you're inside of, yeah, but not loshi. That means you're wandering around in a skin. Basically, translate to Skinwalker. Yeah.
So you had one side of your family that was Christian, one side of your family that I were Charmin, but I really that's not really dark, is it? Charmin's not dark. That's it's how it's where you go with it, correct? Because there's good and bad in it.
Uh.
You can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm wrong daily. I promise you.
Oh, no, no, no. You're good. I'm just trying to find the right words to not get you in trouble. No.
I don't get monetized. I decided a while back not to be monetized.
Oh, no, no. I'm not talking about this realm. I'm talking about the other realm.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Oh, I had a near death
um,
experience once. I knew where I was going, but go ahead.
oh yeah, they can access the astral plane as well and spy on us at will. Even right now, you can't see them, but they're somewhere in their hogan or in their cave like this when they're out wandering around. They you have everyone has that silver cord that they call the silver cord, where
Yes,
you
it's
have
like
that ability to wander around, and it's pretty cool. But anyways, so finishing that story, she that lady was offering my great grandpa, some jewelry to keep quiet, but with the end of his barrel of his rifle, he reached forward and moved her hair, and it was his his wife's aunt, our own family members. Oh, what happened to Miss V?
I'm
She's
still
still
here.
there. Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
have a rally kitty. I'm trying to herd swamp kitty so she doesn't take the camera out. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. Um, whew. Yeah.
So it
So
was it
it's
was
our own
her head.
family, huh?
You said it was her head.
No, no, it was the lady. Remember that she was sitting down naked with long black hair and jewelry. Yeah, she was offering him the jewelry to keep quiet, but the end of his barrel, he moved her hair, and he found out that was the witch was his wife's aunt that's been
Oh, oh,
She
killing
she
okay.
killing.
was a So the
Yeah.
silver cord, William said he hasn't heard of the silver cord. It's almost like a line of life. How do you explain it? It's like an energy that grounds you, that comes from your core. And I know I've kind of slaughtered that, but how would you explain that to William Navajo
Oh,
God?
um, William. Oh, it's a. I don't know how to explain to you, but only can explain to how I can access it. Um, so I would say, right when you're about to go to sleep, you're right in that middle area, and somehow, some way, when you're drifting off inside, you can open your eyes, and you'll see like a rope, or you'll see like a quick dream, like a quick escape, and you access that right away. And sometimes you can leave your body. Sometimes you'll be floating up to the ceiling, and then you have to figure out how to get out, and you'll be flying around the skies. But you got to be careful when you're flying around, because there's other things out there that can see what you're doing, and especially the people that do witchcraft, the Church of Satan. They tried to recruit me a few times there in Phoenix and Salt Lake. You gotta be careful when you dream. It's a weird access, but that silver cord helps ground you to your body, so you always can come back, because when you're sleeping, whether you know it or not, you're like a car that's parked outside in the street. Someone can jump in and drive off in it. Like, if like alcohol, you drink too much and you're blacked out and you don't know what's happened, but you're still communicating and doing all kinds of things, and you wake up the next day and you don't remember. It's like the same type of thing. But that silver cord keeps your soul inside your body, and it can be cut, and you can't return to your body.
So I had a interesting question here. When you're talking about skinwalkers and just some of the darkness, someone asked, does rebuking them in the name of Jesus help?
Yeah, that's the only thing that works. Only thing that works. Standing toe to toe with them, because the skinwalkers are the special forces of the other side. They're the
Wow.
top dogs. They do the other side's working deals in this realm. They're the soldiers for them. And
I've never heard it quite put like that. Darn.
yeah, it's a opponent. This life, you gotta know who your opponent is, who your true enemy is, and everyone out there is lying to you. Truth. That's the most important thing you gotta find, and especially into this Bigfoot topic. Truth is always is your flashlight, is your trail out of the forest. If the evidence it can help lead you, and stay with the evidence. What's real, what's real, what's physical, what's not. They're separate. And like from seeing ghosts, that's a whole nother can of worms. In haunted areas, ruins, that's another ball game. And then like when you go into caves, the rake, that's another thing. And the Wendigo, we don't really. Only thing we have one that might resemble Wendigo is that rake, that a giant four-limbed creature that's pale, that stays in the caves, the underground caves. They said that he came out when the Anasazis were opening all these portals in those kivas back in the day. So a lot of these creatures came through the portals that they opened up, like that gargoyle I was telling you about.
We'll get into that. Is that the only skinwalker experience that you had, or were there? Because we're still at the trailer.
Oh, I'm just
you. What else
I'm bringing
happened?
you everywhere.
But you know what? It's okay because I mean my shirt says feral, but so I'm a little I'm rabid too. But
Hey, I'm creative. There's creative. I was playing, but
I
yep,
like.
we're still we're still at the trailer, and
But let me go ahead and interrupt you. But you are creating your own podcast. You're fixing to roll with your first show tomorrow. So you'll be covering this a lot more with eyewitness counters. So please give yourself a plug. Let me put this on the big screen so they can get your, I don't know if they can see your, yeah,
there.
so they can see your email. Tell us your YouTube channel coming up and what you're going to talk about. And
Oh,
yeah, that
yeah.
right there.
Oh, yeah. Right here, dun
He's a
dun.
comedian.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have a YouTube channel right now. If you can just look up that name right there, and I have stories that I'm still content I'm still putting out. I haven't put out the Goat Man, and I haven't shared the uh abduction that my wife and I seen. You know, I recorded it towards the end, and this thing is giving off different lights. So, anyways, yeah, I'm sharing like Skinwalker stories. I'm getting into my Bigfoot encounter where I'm investigating and running into ghosts, and then seeing a gigantic UFO up in the sky, probably like about 300 feet in diameter, a spear in the sky, just lighting up the whole sky, and I wish I got out my phone then, but my jaw's trying to pick up my jaw from the ground, because this is at 3 in the morning, and this is not right. This shouldn't be happening at 3 in the morning. And I'm on a dangerous Sasquatch trail with my German Shepherd. If anything, she's going, I'm running.
3 in the morning just seems to be the hour, doesn't it? That just seems to
Yeah.
be they call it the witching hour. I don't know if it's something in the energy that changes. Um, Do you
thin
get a
veil.
lot of 3 a.m. encounters?
The veil is thin.
Yeah, we're at the lowest energy on Earth right before the sun comes up.
Yeah,
So it
and
could be.
yeah, and like I got a sick audio of a Sasquatch knocking a tree right at 3 in the morning too. Like someone's hitting home runs at exactly 3 a.m. in the morning, you
Runs
know.
at 3 a.m. in the
And a
morning.
lot of times on the reservations, 3 in the morning, these you hear chanting outside. And when you go look out the window, you see what look like two dogs sitting together. And you turn the light, they're half man, half dog sitting there. And then what they're saying, and now who's chanting, they're saying your footprints will no longer be made on this earth. And they curse you, your whole family, and as a song, as a chant, chanting repetitive, because in our culture, this whole world was brought to life by chanting. The creator chanted and sung this whole life into reality. So, like right now, as we're speaking, our words are leaving us and going into the galaxies, the far reaches of the universe, and coming right back. So that's why we gotta be careful with whatever we say, even what we think, too. But
That's you speak the energy you live.
oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
You gotta speak life and love to everything and yourself, right? Because if you're gonna you gotta look at the glass half full, 24/7. Because if you look at it as half empty, then it's not gonna be right for you. Like goes back to these skinwalkers. You're out there roaming around real late at night, and you have that love, you have that light inside of you. That's the only light that's gonna be out there,
do they
driving
look
your
for
car.
that light? Is that something that they want to destroy? Does that make you a target, or does that just seem to? I know it gives you a shield, but is that something that they want to destroy in you?
They have bigger fish to fry. They got bigger fish to fry because they have a darker entity that tells them what to do and tells them how much donkey urine to drink. Maybe 1 gallon of donkey piss to drink, maybe 3 gallons of donkey piss to drink, or having a intercourse with a dead body over there, or things like that. They have to do all the time, and I was like, man, it's gotta suck to be a skinwalker. It's gotta suck to work for the dark side, but their magic don't work if you have that love, the love of God, the fear of only God, of nothing else. Like you gotta fear what can destroy your physical and your soul. Don't fear what can hurt your body.
Have faith
That's
and believe.
yeah, that's the that's the key to ward these things off and to survive. Because the living expectancy of an eight male on the Navajo Nation is 28 to 31 years old. It's not right. There's a lot of bad things going on. There's a lot of people missing left and right, and we don't know where they went. But a lot of areas on the reservation leads to caves, and it goes underground.
Um, Don, you look like you want to
So
ask a
were you
question.
saying that the skinwalk? Yeah. Were you saying that the skinwalkers have to continually do rituals to maintain being a skinwalker?
Show their allegiance, whether it be sitting in the cave with other skinwalkers from different regions. They have meetings across the reservations, and they have they can't make skinwalkers. They're like the Navajo version of the Freemasons. They're the Navajo version of the Illuminati, the secret underground, the hidden society.
Wow. I mean, how did you put it a while ago? They were the dark soldiers, or how did you put it a while ago? You put it so well that they're like the special forces of the dark realm of the darkness. They're like that's so let's go back to the trailer. I love getting scattered because it just means we're just people talking.
I'm used to it. I'm Navajo, so everyone asks me 1,000 questions all the time. So I'm like, yeah. Huh? What do you got a
Well,
question? Anyways, go ahead. Yeah,
I'm
we're
sure
we're
y'all,
back at the trailer.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll start uh, popping off some questions once we start hitting the Bigfoot stuff. But I really want to go back to this trailer because that scene was a hot spot. That you were
Oh,
younger then. The thing was now was that you said that was that a Bigfoot that grabbed the dog under the vehicle or
yeah,
I mean, was the
yeah, a
dog
black
okay?
one.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a black-haired Bigfoot.
wow.
And yeah, after my uncle, shot it in the back of the head, it didn't come around until like about 10 years. Then it started its activities again, visiting my family. Like it's a correlation of every summer. Well, we live not too far from the San Juan River. So these things like to come out of Colorado and take the San Juan River all the way across Utah, and then into the Grand Canyon, and then come back up to Cedar or my bad, Warner Valley area. And then it comes up all the way back into the Dixie National Forest, and they go all the way back up to the Uintas. And then they go all the way to Yellowstone. So, and then that's a different group. So there's multiple groups. They crisscross. They go that way. They go this way. They stay in one area for 2 weeks. Well, anyways, we're going back to the trailer. Sorry.
You're fine. You just, I mean, look, we got all night. Go for it. I mean, whatever you're putting
Yeah,
out there, we're taking in.
yeah. There's a. I think it's because we're near a deep ground entrance, a deep unexplored tunnel entrance, the vast cavern entrance, and these things go in and out all the time. And I did seen one with the ears, one of the ears in the snout one time looking in the window as a child. And I didn't even know it was looking in the window. It was probably like around midnight. It was a full moon.
Same trailer.
And yeah, same trailer, same location. And it's a beautiful area. Something strange about it. Um, the land's bad. I think it's the land. The land's bad. Something happened there a long time ago. Who knows? So we're trying to sleep, and I was with my cousin brother. He was like 3 years old, 2 years old at the time, and I was with my aunt, and my great grandma was there. And out of nowhere, I was trying to sleep. I was facing away from the window. The window was wide open. The curtains was wide open. It was enough light inside, and I was facing away from the window because I know not to look at the window. You're gonna see something you wish that you didn't see. And my little brother was awake, and he's calling my aunt's name. And I was like, "Oh, this is not right. This is something's wrong." He's like, look, puppy." My eye just went boom because the trailer's sitting high up, and if something's reaching, like looking in, they have to be tall, pretty tall. And then I was like, don't do it." And I turned slow, and sure enough, this big giant head in the window looking in, looking at us. And I froze. And my aunt, what she did was she got up quietly. She walked over to him and grabbed him. She's like, "Tell him, come, let's go back to bed." Just smooth and calm, laid down. And she looked over at me. She's like, "Go to sleep." And we just hid underneath the blanket. And then this thing started running on top of the trailer. And it started crawling underneath the trailer. Before all these things started like happening to us in the trailer, these things started clearing out the farm first. They started taking the chickens, and they started taking the goats. They started taking the baby lambs, and then the bigger sheep, and then the colts, and then the calves, and then the cow, and then the horse. But I think they prefer horse meat for some reason. And then after it's all gone, then they come for us. This is pretty crazy. You got any questions,
Huh.
Don?
Um, yeah, now why do you think they do that? Why do you think they stare at you through the windows? I mean, they know you can see them.
Dinner and a show. Dinner and a show. Licking his chops, and saying, "What's this guy gonna do? What's this channel? What's this?" Who knows these things? All knows these things don't speak like us. You know,
Right.
we're still learning from them
Yeah.
every day. What happened to Miss
Yeah,
V?
I heard I heard two of them out here going back and forth, and they sounded like dogs trying to talk.
Huh.
Stuff like
Oh,
that. It was crazy.
mm. Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
now, like, do you think that they want you to leave the area? Do you think that's why they're harassing you, or is there something different going on? I think it's something different, you know?
Could be, but you know, when you start going after them, when you start following them and start hunting them, when everyone tells you don't, you come across some strange patterns that they do, and they have to do it because they don't work 9 to 5 like us, and they go to and from. They stay in one area probably no longer than 2 weeks, and they move on the trail. Whatever is laying in front of them, they'll consume. But however, they do love blood. They love blood.
Yeah.
Blood's very
Now,
sacred to them.
how do they come around more often in a certain season, summertime, or is it the full moons? They love the full moons.
Basically, anytime, anywhere, wherever they are. They could be over the mesa, different part for 2 weeks, and they're in the other part. And there's like about shoot, there's probably more than 9 family groups, and just think each of these groups have 7 to 9 in a group. And
Oh,
these things, they're social. They're social creatures, and they're very shy to us because in our culture, is Miss V here? I was going to tell her this culture history about Sasquatch, the Navajo and the Sasquatch.
yeah, she
And
should. Yeah.
oh, okay. So yeah, it goes back a long time ago when we were being created. The Creator created us and them the same time. As He's saying, this whole world, this universe into existence, He made us and them side by side. And as the years went on, these things they started to eat us. They could see at night. They're the children of the night. We're the children of the day. And they almost ate all of us all. And one woman, she had she had a boy, and she found another boy. She had 2 boys. She was hiding from. Let's see, tell her neighbor. Yeah, yeah, I have. It's the type of communication where it makes you stop in your track. And I'm not afraid of many things out here because I'd be running at 12 o'clock at night, 3 in the morning, just because I couldn't sleep. I'd be running on the dirt road or the freeway with no flashlight. I wasn't scared of nothing. And seeing my first Sasquatch, and I was 18 years old out there in the Utah side, outside of Mexican Hat, Utah. I had some families coming in from off the reservation from Nevada, and there was like about so there's 6 of us, and they came in and they're like, "Hey, let's go for a hike, let's go for a walk, let's go do this, let's go do that." I was like, "You realize what time it is?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to see something tonight. I want to see a skinwalker. I want to see the devil." He's saying that, and I was looking at him like, you're gonna regret that, but let's go." and and we all started off on our journey, and I was with my uncle and 2 aunts and 2 cousins, actually 3 cousins. So there's 7 of us, and you know, within 30 minutes of our hike, we went over the first hill, then the second hill, and we only had one flashlight. And we're gonna go down to the San Juan River and come back up to Halchita, that little community where we're coming from. And we're gonna follow this wash. And then like within 30 minutes we heard if you can bring up the Sierra sounds. I don't know if you guys heard the Sierra sounds, the chatter, the screaming, the it sounds like a drunk man yelling. And some weird
Yeah.
yeah, that was it was doing that. We shined the light that way, and I thought it was on the other heel. The distance. I wasn't really sure because I was about probably over 100 yards away from it. That heel, and I thought it was coming from over on the mesa over yonder because its eyes was so big. I was like, it's probably a cougar or a bobcat up on that hill. Everyone looked at it. Everyone's frozen, with the light on it, and his eyes was reflecting back, and everyone's frozen. And I was like, oh, it's probably a skinwalker. Then you guys are scared. I'm gonna go say hi. So I started walking up to it, getting closer, and this thing was started making its chatter, making its verbal. I don't know what it was saying. I kept walking each step, and I was observing it, and it stopped walking back. It was pacing like this. It was pacing. When it turned to look at me and turned this way, I was getting closer because the sand was red, and I can start making out that I had red hair because it matched with the red dirt. And I was like, this is what in the heck is this? And it stopped, it turned towards me, and its eyes was probably as big as this, and it was spread apart, and its head was so huge. So it's I can't explain to you how big this eyes were. And it was ember, it was reflecting back, and it was staring at me. I was like 50 yards, I think 50 yards, and I realized it wasn't over the hill, it was right behind this hill. It was standing behind it. And it was so tall that I thought it was over there, but it was behind the hill, and it started swaying like this, and it started going, it started yelling. Uh, if you hear the Sierra sounds, this one scream right there is giving off its scream as it's screaming. Is going like this, swaying back and forth fast. And I was frozen right there, and I was observing everything. And this thing starts taking a step behind the hill, all the way till I was just looking at my listening his eyes, and boom, they're like, and I went back to my family. Whole time I was walking back to them, I was looking back, looking at the ground, looking at them. The whole time I was like, what am I gonna say? How am I gonna tell them that what I seen triggered an old memory, an old struggle, an old battle from a distant one point in history where we struggle with these monsters. This is a monster from the old stories. That's what I got off of that. And when I got off of that, I was a prey. I was a snack. We're a whole buffet. And he was looking at all of us, which he wanted. And I got to my family, and they're like, "What did you see?" And I looked at them, and I said, "There's a bobcat. Let's keep going." So we kept going. We got into the wash, and I was hearing foot tracks behind us, and I let my whole family go ahead of me, and I was standing there in the darkness, standing there waiting for it to come, but I heard him come walking up on the hill above the wash. And man, that made my heart go boom, 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 boom. I had to run back to my family, and I count everyone, and everyone was looking at me like I was losing my mind, but they were looking at me. I was looking in the darkness like this, hey, shine your light over here, shine your light over here. I didn't tell anyone what was going on. I didn't tell nobody. This was all inside. And then from 12 o'clock, I knew we were being followed for 3 hours. We got close to the river. We're getting closer to the river, and the smallest member of the family group, he was like about 14. He's skinny, he's short. I don't know if he got ballsy because we got back on a dirt road. He got like about probably 70 yards ahead, 50 yards ahead. He went around a bend, and I was first one, and he got ahead, and I was like, okay, whatever. We're getting close to the community. I looked down the trail to make sure, I'm not gonna slip and fall in the dark. There's no moon, there's no stars. And I looked up, and I see him flying towards me. His eyes is about to come out of his skull. His mouth was wide open, and his hands was spread out, and he was running. His legs was flying like is like he was, you know what I mean? Like complete horror, and he tackled me. He didn't hug me, he didn't grab me, tackled me, And I was holding him, and he was squeezing me, he was shaking. And I told him, "What did you see? What did you see? Tell me, what did you see? What did you see?" And all he can say was, "It was Yanat Loshi, Skinwalker." And I was like, "What did you see? I want to know, what did your eyes see? Tell me." And he said that when he got around the corner, you know, and he looked up, he said that he seen, what looked like a, because when you get around the corner, you can see the light, the light pollution from the community. And he said that he's seen what looked like a orange orangutan running towards him on all fours, and it was reaching out to grab him. He said huge hands was reaching to get him. He turned around and he started hauling butt back to us. And
Wow.
as soon as he said that, I threw him off me and I started running in that direction as fast as I can. And I had another cousin that was a year behind me. He was running right with me. We're going down this road. We went around the bend, and as soon as we got around the bend, uh, we ran into a wall of BO. We ran into a wall of old blood, of old decaying flesh, of, of turd, of urine, um, you name it. I inhaled it. I was breathing hard, and I stopped, and I was gagging. And my cousin, he did the same thing. And then there's this hill to our left. That's about, man, it's a very steep angle, probably 75, 70-degree angle going up a hill. Very impossible for us to go up. And we heard rocks coming down from up there, and we looked up, and this thing was already up at the top on all fours and went right over the hill. Impossible for us to do, if I may add. Yeah, that was. I didn't even know it was Bigfoot all these years until 2017 when I started listening to podcasts, and I started really researching it and listening to other people's testimonials, and that the hat fit the cat. It's just no denying after that. And then running into tracks, and my own in-laws, from the mountain, tracking them for miles, and just validation after validation, proof, evidence after each other, and there was no hiding it. And I started on this trail 2017, and I haven't looked back since then.
So, Swamp Kitty, I told you she was going to take out the camera tonight. She did, but it's half her show. So, what did I miss when we were gone? When I come back, you were talking about this encounter, but I did. A little twisted wanted you to go back in more to your culture, and I'm trying to get these questions out because when they pop up, I don't want to interrupt you.
In the creation story, you got as far as us and the Skinwalkers created at the same time.
I'm like bouncing around everywhere. I'm full of information.
But here's the deal, Don. Navajo Don, when you bounce around, I get it. You're perfect guest for me. I had a couple of questions. One, what's your thoughts on Thunderbirds? Have you experienced one or had stories about one? And the other one, someone want to know about other cryptids, and Little Twisted wanted to know more about the culture. I think she means with the Skinwalkers and the Little Twisted. If you'll specify that, I'll let you take those in whatever order you want to, because it's your show, Navajo Don. You go where you want to, and I like scattered people. Makes me feel at home, buddy.
Scatterbrain.
Oh, that's a good one. I'll ask that, Ron.
Okay, we'll go back to the creation story. Okay, so our creation story talks about the two warriors, one born for water and one born for the creator, the father sky. So this one lady, her name was the changing woman. So she hid these two boys, they got older. And every time Navajo woman or a human woman would give birth to a child, these Bigfoot, they would smell them. They would smell the birth, and these Bigfoot love infants. They love human meat, or the infant meat, probably because it's tender. Who knows? So these things would always come by and eat, and they started eating all the men. There were no more men around, and she had these two boys. They're getting older, and she they asked her who's our father. This is the sky. He lives in the sun. He's the creator, the only one that can move the sun. Navajo god, his name is Jonah A. So he's the one creator, and they made a journey to him. And yeah, he tested multiple trials to see if there really are his sons, his kids, and they passed every one of those tests that he gave them. And he said, "Okay, what do you guys, what do you want? What do you guys want here? You guys can take it back down." And then he's reading their mind, and they looked over his doorway. He had a bow and arrow, over his doorway, but instead of the arrow, there was lightning crisscross. And they're looking at that, and he's like, "You guys want that, huh?" And he's like looking into their mind, and he's like, "I know what's going on on Earth. I realize that my creation's eating the other. There's destruction going on. Humanity are almost all gone." And he said that, "I'll give you this weapon. You guys can go down there and take care of it." And he was hesitant to give him that weapon because the Bigfoot Sasquatches, all 23 different Sasquatches, are all his babies too. So he let them take the weapon. And when they came back down to Earth, they went on the offensive, and they started going around all the corners of the Earth, killing all these Bigfoot. And they went all the way down to here. They chased them to here in the four corners into the Grand Canyon. They started going down where the cave tunnels I was telling you about. So they're chasing them all the way down in there. They went way deep into the earth, and all of them were there. They're going to kill them. They had pity on them. They said, "This is not right. We took so many lives. We killed so many of them. This is not right. We shouldn't take a life. We have no right to take a living being soul. You know, we can't do this anymore." So they had pity on them, and they made an agreement with them. They said, "Hey, we're going to let you guys live, but let's agree the nighttime is for you. You hunt, you walk around, you do whatever you need to do at night. The day is for us, and you don't cross our boundary, and we'll stay out of your area. You stay out of ours." And so as time went along, every winter, it's a custom, it's a culture rule that all the women and children need to stay inside, because wintertime these guys will come. They're hungry, and they'll take you. They're never gonna find you. So only the men can be out in the wintertime. So like there's a lot of ceremonies that we do during the winter that we can't share with the world. And we sing to these Bigfoot. We have a song for them. And these things will come down and sing, or they'll stand in the tree line and sing too and stand there. It's even like during ceremonies, they'll be knocking on the hogan door. The medicine man will open the door, and a baby Sasquatch would come in and roll around the fire and roll back out. It'd be
Wow.
some things like that. And even down to my Apache cousins, investigating down that way. It's the same thing. Their customs, their culture, their songs they do. These Bigfoot will come and observe, and whenever they have to go into the forest to get some pine sap, you would have to clack two rocks together to tell them you're friendly.
So that's where the clacking comes from.
Yeah, say you're friendly.
That's outstanding. How about the Thunderbird part?
Say that again.
The Thunderbird part?
Oh, yeah. It's still around. Maybe flies more at night now because I've seen his tracks up on the mesa. It's like a dinosaur track. It's 3 with a long one, but it's huge. And I'm not the only one that finds its tracks. You find them on high mesas, black mesa, white mesa, high areas these things like to access. And then they go back to the culture stories as well. These those thunderbirds used to pick up old Navajos and take them up Shiprock. That if you ever looked up Shiprock, New Mexico, that rock up there, it used to live up there. It used to take Navajos up there and eat them. And it used to fly high up in the sky in noontime, going in circles, picking up people and eating them.
What is up with eating all the people? I mean, the skinwalkers, the the Sasquatch, I mean, I guess that's just the way it was back then. Or is there
We
some
are
type of
slow.
power in it? Is it a power in it, or
Yeah, we're very slow.
Oh
well,
no. At least
I'm
we're glad you guys are finally catching up.
well, I have a high fat intake, so I think I'll be pretty daggone safe if I crack across
Yeah,
that. So,
yeah. It's yeah, it's a lot of times where you have to hurry up and run off to home before the sun goes down. Because once the sun goes down, you're fair game, and
mm.
it's gonna be scary.
Do you guys have the tall athletic type Sasquatch there? We have those in North Carolina.
Yeah, different
Can
shapes,
you,
different size, different
yeah,
colors.
can you hit on some of those encounters or the stories you've heard with the tall athletic ones?
Oh,
They're almost like an NBA player, but they're covered with hair.
oh yeah, like about 14 feet tall, and in a dome head, all black.
Oh,
The taller ones are the black ones. They There's even one bigger than the black ones. They stay close to the mountains. They're like 26 feet tall. And when you
oh,
shine the light in their eye, it reflects back red, and they'll chase you out the cave because there's one mountain is an entrance to the hollow earth. And even these UFOs go inside and out. A lot of my investigations, I seen UFOs leave that mountain. And then like investigating that mountain, I find different entrance for different activities, different beings, even the Centaur. It's pretty wicked. It's cool, but you know, you know, going down this rabbit hole, my
I
family
like
made
rabbit holes.
me, yeah, my family made me promise no more, unless I have a posse. So I did experience missing time. I don't know where some of my time went, but yeah, I don't know, but I can't leave anywhere myself now. But this coming April, I'm going to be going to out in this one area on the Navajo Nation for another expedition where it's an aggressive Sasquatch, the black one, the tall, aggressive one. He tried killing my friend. They were getting woods out there, and he threw a huge tree. It just barely missed them. I guess they bent down to put fuel in their chainsaw. This thing flew right over them and smacked the tree next to them. And then they looked down underneath the trees. They seen a giant black feet, and then it started running. The earth was shaking, and it sounded like helicopter propellers running away. But before it ran away, it was yelling. And they said it was sound like raw, raw, raw. And it was, and they said that they think that they might have walked up on him, while he was sleeping, because whenever you go out to the woods, make sure you have a camera if you're gonna do this. Put on a lot of scent spray that desensitize yourself. If you can't afford a spray for scent, use the old Navajo trick. If you know where there's the nearest cedar around you, go and gather them right up. Gather a lot of cedar, and then get your water and add cedar in there. Add as much cedar as you want, as much taste of this of the. Sorry, my bad. Not cedar, sage. I'm sorry, I meant to say sage. Sage. So you add the sage to your water and you stir it. And that sage over a week to 2 weeks, depends on how much you're drinking it, will flush out all your human scent out of your pores, and you'll smell like sage. It'll smell pretty good too. And if you put sage to your nose, it can take away headaches too,
We,
and
we have
migraines.
sage, yeah, we keep sage in our house because
Yeah, yeah. Navajos don't burn them. We drink them.
like
Really,
wormwood.
yeah, you can get to the deer. You can pet the deer, and the deer will show you where the big buck is at.
Now, was this at night or during the day when your friend almost got clocked with a log?
Day During the day, high noon. He
So,
thinks it might have been sleeping.
so you're going to do an expedition to go find it, but so what are you tracking on this aggressive one? Because you were telling me before that some of them aren't aggressive, that there are some that just live and let live. But when you get an aggressive one, you guys, you know, I guess you kind of pack up and let them know, it's not going to be tolerated. What are you tracking on this particular Sasquatch? Has he been aggressive toward other people?
Yeah,
Was
the same friend, the same area, another separate time while they're out bow hunting. It came around while they're getting some sleep around like about 12 o'clock at night or midnight, and they heard this thing coming in screaming, and everyone was awake. So it was him, his wife were in the tent, his brother was in a low tent where you like sleep in, and then his son was in his own tent. They all heard this thing coming in around the camp, and I guess it kicked his brother's head when I was laying in the low tent. Because it kicked his head. He went
wow.
up to his tent with his wife inside and dragged them both while they're inside the tent. And he started running with them, and his wife was screaming while they were falling left and right. This thing was running, and he went and reached into his bag. He got out his 9 millimeter. He, you know, let off a couple rounds in the direction where he thought this thing was dragging them at, and sure enough, it dropped them. And then when they gathered themselves, they got out the tent. They seen the tree line. It's the same thing. Eyeballs as big as softballs, pacing and like huffing and puffing. This thing was pissed because he shot it, And what everyone did was, they just left. They all jumped in the truck and they took off to the nearest gas station and got some rest. And they came up the next day and their whole campsite was just thrashed. That's the area where I'm going, just to get more evidence, just more validate. Yeah, I know, seeing them, hearing them, even the roars. The roar is probably the best one I ever heard. It's amazing. And and these creatures, they never cease to amaze me. Even hearing, like, man, I can't say enough about them. And a lot of people saying that they seen them jump. They can jump 30 feet, and then me tracking them. Some people say, "Oh, he jumped in the portal. I can't track him." That's BS. That's BS because coming from me and Navajo, hell no, he's not gonna leave me. I'm gonna go counterclockwise and clockwise. I'm gonna look for his track because this sucker went somewhere. He didn't just disappear. I'm not gonna take that. So I look at the trees. If he climbed up, no. So, well, I got 10 feet, circle, nothing. 20 feet, circle, nothing. 30 feet, nothing. 36 feet. That fool jumped 36 feet from point A to point B. One jump. And this guy, his footprint was 23 and a half inch. Then his heel, where his heel is 9 inches wide alone. And then where his toes are,
Wow.
over 9 inches. It, I used to have that picture, and it's lost. This is like back in 2017, and like each step, because my in-law, he went up to the mountain to get some water. They don't have running water. He was gonna refill his barrels, and he said he's seen a red arm because we have a waterfall goes down, and he was unloading his barrels, get ready. He looked at the waterfall. He said he's seen a big, long, hairy red arm swing like this. And then he looked over. He said, "Did it again." He's like, "What in the heck?" He grabbed his phone. He's getting ready. And then as he was waiting, he said he was looking at his phone. He said he looked at his phone, the waterfall over the next hill, something black sitting there. And he looked. He said it was a huge black Sasquatch sitting on a huge boulder. That boulder, I walked up to it, is like at least 6'3" in height, He said that Sasquatch sat on that boulder like a little folded chair. His knees was coming up. So he sat there like a chair, he said, and he reached up over yonder and he broke off a cedar tree branch. These cedar trees are pretty strong, they're always twisted. So he snapped off a big branch. He got the branch right over him to show him and snapped it in half. He said it was so loud. He said after that he just threw his barrels into the SUV and he hauled ass out of there. And then I heard about it the third day. He took a picture, and by the time the news came to my wife and I, we jumped in the ride and went to him. Like, hey, we heard you got a picture of Sasquatch. Just check it out. And he's like, well, I just deleted it. I just deleted it. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why did you delete it? He said that he had that picture for 3 days, and each night the nightmares were getting worse every single night. He said that every night, the first night was when he was hauling butt down the road. He said Sasquatch was following him on the dirt road because he hasn't lived that far from the one, like 2 miles. He said that Bigfoot was walking down the road, following him all the way to his house every night. And the third night, he said Bigfoot was checking his doors, his front and back door, and checking the windows. And he went to where he was sleeping at. The curtain was open this much. He said Bigfoot was watching him sleep. He jumped up. He said the window was really cracked. He closed it, deleted it, and then those nightmares stopped. And then after he told me that, I picked him up, I threw him in the SUV, and I took him back to that waterfall against his will, and I got him out. And the whole time I'm studying, I'm telling him, watching him, and this whole time his demeanor was like this. I don't feel safe here. I don't like it here. Oh man, I feel like he's watching me. So he's just constantly looking everywhere, and I was like, this is legit. This is legit. And I was like, okay, walk me through what you've seen. So he described the arms swinging at the bottom of the waterfall. My wife went to that one. And I went to where the bigger one was sitting on the heel. My wife found 17-inch tracks with 13-inch tracks underneath the waterfall. They're both taking a bath or a shower, And then the daddy, that's where I found his tracks. Whoa, huge. I found the tree that he broke. Boom. And then I tracked the steps. When he started taking off, it was 6 foot each stride. And he had mid-tarsal brake to distribute his weight as he's cruising. So when he's walking, he's like a model walking the runway. So each feet is straight. Yeah. Not like us, we're like this, but he's like, yeah, gracefully. So 6 feet, he started running from 6 to 9, then to 12, then to 15, then to 17 feet. He's running full sprint over 17 feet. And then he jumped 36 feet. And like all these reports and stories and witnesses of them even swimming in Lake Powell, even climbing up 100 feet face cliffs. These guys are amazing. They're amazing creatures.
The part about the deleted photo, I had Mel on last week, and he actually had Sasquatch hair, and he was told to take the hair back to him, and he did take the hair back. So I guess that was the same as your friend deleting the photo, having to give back to get that. I guess it was a piece.
Yeah, because they know when you're taking a picture of their tracks, they know when you're looking for them. Yeah, that's part of the same thing where you use the scent spray. As long as you control your scent, and I think you have a greater chance of seeing them, or by accident, like me hiking at midnight.
And now I had some questions pinned, and I'm trying to write them down as they go in chat. One come up earlier. It said, do you think Bigfoot communicate telepathically? And also, do you think other things can make themselves appear to be a Bigfoot when they're really not? That come from Riley. Okay. First part, do you think they can communicate telepathically?
From from me, my experiences, no. But
Okay.
your gut, I run off of my gut feeling all the time,
That,
and then
that's
your
fine.
inner voice inside. Because one time where I was in this area where I got a picture of its track, I have a picture of 17-inch track going up a ridge line, up this mesa, attracted to a cave, and I didn't want to go into the cave, because as I was getting closer, a huge cougar paw track went into the same cave, and all I had was a machete. I was like, all right, I draw the line right here. Then like later on, I was going back up that same butte, but on another side, to be a little bit sneakier. And this one area path where it gets really narrow, I stopped. I had a feeling where if I go there, I'm gonna get taken because it's an ambush, perfect ambush spot. And I was observing it, and I had two dogs with me. They're both their eyes fixated out there. While we're standing there, I was making my decision if I'm gonna go or not. I had a bad feeling don't. Then I heard something banging metal, like a sheet metal, right over there. And sun was going down. I was like, we gotta go. We gotta leave. This is bad. Far as that, I don't know, but I have another culture story. That's one
Okay.
area on the other side of the nation. They actually captured one. Um, Back in the day, I guess it was making its passing by, and these locals they spotted it out, and they started to give chase all the men in that community, that village. So back then, everyone had yucca fiber ropes. So they went all around this Bigfoot, and they threw the ropes all around there. And then after a while, this Bigfoot was struggling. He sat down, and the medicine man said that he spoke to them in Navajo. He said that possibly one of his mind speak, saying, "If you guys can take me to Mesa Verde, Colorado, if you guys can take me there, I'll never come back around this area again. I'll go around you." And then going on, that's the culture story. Then from my investigations out on the eastern side of the Navajo Nation, I got people swearing up and down to me that these things speak Navajo, can speak our language, and they sound like an old raspy man's voice. And then doing my investigations with the other Apache tribes out in Arizona, same thing. They speak Apache. They sound like an old man, raspy voice. So, what was the other question? Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, my cat was hacking swamp. Other,
Give
she's
me a cat skin. Cat skin.
yeah, she's the mascot of the show. So, the other question was, do you think it's possibly that other entities on the reservation can disguise themselves as Bigfoot? Meaning, do you think like thinks yeah that
No, no, no. We have different looking Bigfoots that look different from each other. You have the tall, athletic ones. You have the red ones, and you have the blonde-haired ones. And you have the buckskin colored ones. Then you have the one that looks like dirt color. And then, like with age comes, same thing. Their voice gets deeper over times. So if you hear a scream out there, like a high pitch, it's probably a little one. You know, like when we get older, when we yell, our voices get deeper.
I've heard them described the brown ones described as a wet deer look. It had like the color of a wet deer. So
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I think they're like different color, different stages, point of their aging. Because like they get white when they get older, and when they get older, white ones they don't leave. They stay in mountain passes where it's very harsh conditions. They don't need to worry about people. They stay in them areas, while the younger ones go down to the lower valleys. But they'll come back up and bring food for the old one. Or the old ones living off some wild horses, like a kill pile. We found that. It's scary finding all them kill piles, and you see all them horses being ripped up from limb to limb, and you see no signs of predator, no signs of bear, no signs of cougar or coyote ripping these up. These things are being ripped, ripped apart, bone. Something very powerful is doing that.
Right.
It's
Can
scary.
the skinwalkers morph into any other creature, or are they always canine?
No, they can morph into anything. One of the more ugly ones, they can
So
morph into
they
body.
could
Say that again.
could they morph to a Bigfoot?
No,
Not
they
a big.
can morph
Okay.
into a werewolf. They can morph into a 9 foot, 12 foot werewolf. But you'll know they're a skinwalker because they'll have some paint symbols on their body, and they'll have like a satchel, their tool bag, where they have their tools to do whatever they want to do. They can they can go into a graveyard and shrink a dead body small and put them in their bag, and they'll take them to their hideout and then bring the body back up normal, and they start processing the body. So they rob graves a lot, and
To eat.
yeah, to eat or to make poison, make
Yeah,
different
he was
things.
saying so they
Right.
Yeah,
use the teeth and what else was it to make that
The
fingernails and
fingernail.
toenails.
Yeah.
Yep, and then the tip of the
yeah
bones. Yeah, and
um
then they'll actually use different parts off of different animals for different things. Like for a buck, they'll get a young buck, and they'll do some juju with his balls, or it's a it's a it's man jewels, right? So they do some kind of incantation to it, and they go up to any girl that they want, shake their hand, and that girl is gonna be at their house that night. Stuff like that, like different parts from different animals. They use it for different things.
it's
Huh.
crazy. um
One of the scarier ones is they can morph make their body real small, and that sometimes they'll be hovering off the ground 2 feet. They'll have a body of a decaying pig floating up, and then their face is a shrunken man with the pig's ears flying, going to a bootlegger's house to get a fifth of whiskey, and then going back out to wherever they are. Or sometimes they'll be flying in a coyote skin. You'll see three of their limbs moving, while the other arm has a 30 pack of beer holding in a man's arms, and he'll be looking at you smiling. So they're going off to get a little
Spirit
faded.
water.
Yeah, and the one I seen, I was 13 years old at the time, and I was staying at my Christian family side, and every summer they have these week-long revivals. So all the young males and all the men have to stay at the tent the whole week to take care of it, because skinwalkers will come into the center of the tent and start cursing the tent. Where they'll go to each chair, putting curses on the chair. They'll go up to the preacher's pulpit and curse the preacher's pulpit, like saying that this guy, he's gonna start cheating on his wife. He's gonna start having relations outside of marriage. He's gonna get this girl pregnant. He's gonna lead. He's gonna become a womanizer. He's gonna beat his women. His kids are gonna become alcoholics, drug addicts, stuff like that. These guys do things like that.
Like I guess this would be more of a root work, but like gopher dust. You ever heard of that? Gopher dust. We had a lot of
Familiar?
quick story. We had a lot of that when I was a small town cop, and we went to a call one time, and the officers I was with wouldn't go up on the doorsteps, and they're like, "We're not going up there. That's gopher dust, and that means you're going to be have some bad mojo." And I was like, "Oh, that's bullshit." So I bounced right on up there, and I got a broom and I swept it off because she wouldn't come out. I'm gonna tell you what. It took 2 weeks, and I had some really bad stuff happen to me. I mean, bad stuff. And I was like, that was no joke. But we had a lot of the root workers around that. We would go up to convenience stores at night that if the clerk ticked somebody off, they would place little jars with little eyes in them with just like really weird jelly inside. I mean, it was crazy. Um, but a little twisted said, "Have you ever seen territorial markers like deer skins or heads in trees, etc.?"
Yeah, yeah. They put deer heads in the trees, away from the roads where a normal person won't be looking. And I found a lot of those markings that they make even nests. They make nests for their baby, and they make nests for them and their companion. Nests as big as enough for a man and a horse to stand in the long ways, like a diamond. Huge nest, huge nest. Yeah, and then
But
their
What's
crew.
the terrain like around your place, Don?
It's very rugged. Nothing's level.
Is it,
It,
you got a lot of
it's
woods or
mountain
desert?
terrain. It's a bit of everything. We're above 5,000 feet elevation. So we're from 6,000 to 7,000 feet. So we have pine, we have juniper, we have cedar, we have ponderosa. We don't have mesquite. We don't have cactus. We have a little tiny baby cactus. We have yucca and sagebrush and red dirt. A lot of canyons, a lot of mountains, and not a lot of people.
But Don, you also
Right.
enlightened me on what they do to the wild horses, and we kind of surmised that they would corral them and punch them in the ribs.
um, they like to break their two front arms. They like to pull them out of their socket and leave them laying there while they go and grab more. They know where the other cache is at. And
Mhm.
sometimes they'll try to bury them too. Same similar things like a cougar, but cougar how they bury their dead, but you'll see the scratch in the paw print into the dirt. But these things you'll see handprints, like half ass burying that animal. Then
We had talked about the wild horse that you found deceased that had the ribs punched in
oh man, yeah, either the ribs punched in,
or rocks
or
through at it.
yeah, most of the time I think they like to go up to them and then pull their whole socket out of their front legs. Same thing with deer. They'll go over there and pull the arms out. Same thing with cattle. If you start seeing that around farm places and even deer, if you see deer with his socket front two pulled out, they're gonna come back when it gets darker and scoop it up.
Yeah. Yes, Tammy, Bigfoot did that. How about Dogman? And let's hit on Dogman, then I want to talk about the gargoyles. Those I find are like, oh, fascinating. So yeah, do you get a lot of Dogman encounters there?
Yeah, he's probably our most active visitor, especially in the summer nights. And it gets pretty hot around there. We're like at 5,000 feet elevation, so we do have cedar and juniper on mesas and washes. So these things like to take the washes. They like to take the creeks, especially the bigger they are, because you can't hide that well. So they have to stay in them areas while the mama and the baby wanders around. And what was your other question again?
I forgot. Sorry.
No, about the gargoyle.
Yeah, let's start going into the
Oh yeah,
gargoyle.
about dogman. About dog. Yeah, the sorry.
I'm
Yeah, the
sorry, I'm just
dogman.
like, I'm
Oh,
into this, brother. I'm into this.
oh no, you're good. You're good. The dogmen when they come in, they scream, and the scream sounds like a few miles, but each scream is closer and closer. Oh, the laptop's about to die. So they get closer and closer, and these things won't interact with you. They'll come closer and take you. They don't give no verbal. They scream and scream, So that's one of the main ones that they'll take you right away. Bigfoot, they'll throw rocks at you, they'll play tricks on you. Oh no, okay, yeah.
So Tammy said that she's hearing the aggressive side of them because she's got horses and she thinks they braid her horse's hair. Could very well be, Tammy. But you guys have had encounters that weren't so aggressive that you've had reported to you, right? Or no?
No,
They've all been aggressive.
horrible. I don't know if I can say. I don't know if I can share what the reason why behind the braided hair. It's it's not a good thing. Um, they're doing that for
That
their
was
pleasure, and while they're doing it, imagine the other one's holding it down while one of them's having intercourse.
yeah. I've heard that before.
Yeah, they like horses. They like us and horses, especially the you women around
Well,
this
most of
time
us are
around.
jackasses, so
Yeah, especially they're attracted to horses, female, and children. They'll come out, especially when it's pinyon picking season. Pinyon come into season, and they'll try to take people, especially if the woman's alone. So we have that as a normal current story, time in, time out, and that's why everyone try not to go alone these days. They try to take their son-in-law. So a lot of the times when I'm out investigating, I'll go after those pinyon pickers and the wood haulers and the hunters. They always have the best stories.
yeah, Tammy said her horse is older. I think they followed it from the prior owner who lived out in the boondocks. And Little Twisted
So,
said
Dawn,
yes,
was there
you take advantage of horses.
ever a time that they were not aggressive and you guys got along with them, interacted with them?
Yeah, during the genocide days,
And what
they
what
they help
happened?
feed
Did
us.
something change?
They fed us juniper berries, and they actually packed juniper berries in a bag for us to take while we're hiding out. And they actually took care of the sick and the children with special needs. They took care of them. They fed them. They have firewood for them. They kept the fire going. He came in and built fire for them and made food for them, for the ones that couldn't do things themselves. And they actually, while the cavalry was out around some areas, these Bigfoots went around the cavalry's camp all night screaming bloody murder. Did not let those cavalrymen sleep so the Navajos can make their escape. And then not only that, they'll help out like they helped out my wife's aunt when she was herding sheep as a child, and she got lost. This blizzard came out of nowhere in springtime, and she got lost. She all she could do was hide underneath the cedar tree, and she was falling asleep, and she was accepting her fate. And she was drifting off, and before you know it, she was being carried by a warm being, and she came to. It was hairy, and she was just holding on to it. It was cold, but it was warm, and she was being carried like a little baby. And before you know it, this thing was moving her and putting her right on her porch of her hogan. It knew where she lived. Maybe it was watching her, maybe not. I don't know. And she turned around. She said, "I have to take a look at this thing." She turned around. It was Bigfoot. And still to this very day, she knows when this thing comes around. She goes out her front porch and she watches, looks around, and she'll see his eyes glowing back from her street light. And it'll come and show itself out of the tree line and stand there. And she'll put her hand up and say, "I'm okay. I'm still alive. I'm all right. There's no one bothering me here. I'm safe. I'm still alive. Don't worry about me." And this thing will turn around and walk back into the forest and into the mountain. It's just there's stories like that, that I can't really put my hand on these guys. Are they bad or are they good? But all I know is that I won't trust them with my son. I won't trust them with anybody. I know
I
that.
had I had a lady
Right.
up from how that she was still lives on the family farm, and her great grandmother taught her dad what was on the land because they were on the land, and her dad as a child interacted with them, like would see them. Like, I'm not saying they were out there putting, playing ball or anything, but they would see each other in the woods. And years later, dad's in his 80s when she did hospice at home, and she said the week before he died, there was this one big one that would come to a tree and stand at the tree outside of the house same week, and did that until he passed. And she really believes that he was coming to say goodbye to her father, because he literally watched this kid grow up, become a father, a grandfather, then to his death. So there's similar stories like that. She really believes that this day it come to say, goodbye to, a kid he watched grow into a man, the life
Yeah,
cycle. Yeah,
yeah.
pretty
We,
interesting.
we have three different names for them. You know what I mean? It's the monster, Then the other one is the hairy holy man, you know. Then the other one is you know, the medicine man. There's three different names that he goes by.
Grow my hair now.
Sorry, it's my little guy.
Hey,
Sorry.
no, that family's welcome, family and pets.
Yeah. What was your question again? Sorry.
I was telling you about the encounter where the lady that the Sasquatch stood at the tree until the night her father passed.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very strange these creatures
Here's a
what they do.
question. Are there reports of Bigfoot loving blondes? One particular case in 1872, a native woman was kidnapped by a Sasquatch. She claimed to have given birth to a baby Bigfoot in BC. Do you think they like blondes? I think he's asking.
Mm, I think they love female in general.
Yeah.
Female
So
in general.
gargoyles.
What was that again?
Gargoyles.
Oh,
Gargoyles.
gargoyles.
Say the words. Yeah. Say the word, man. Yeah.
um, yeah, these yeah, I haven't really tracked down somebody that can share a story with me that ties in with us yet, but looking down, going down this rabbit hole in the same areas, I came across the eyewitness firsthand that this place called Shanto on the Navajo Nation, and there's a trading post that's right underneath this big cliff at Mesa, and I guess he said that one day around 3 in the morning he was getting the phone calls, and he finally answered. He says one of his close friends, because he was Hopi and he was married to a Navajo lady there, and he's like, "Come down to the trading post right now. Get down here right now. Now I need you here." And he's like, "Okay, all right." He threw on his clothes. He drove all the way down to the trading post. And he got out, and he said he seen his buddy looking up, right in front of the trading post. He didn't even look at him, acknowledge him, show up at all. He's like this. He walked up to him, kind of pushed him in the shoulder. What do you want? I'm right here. What is it? Are you okay? And then he's just looking up. He grabbed him. And he said, "Look." And he looked up on that cliff, the edge. He said that he seen a dark figure with horns, standing there. He said, then its wings went boom, like just his wings spread out quick. And he said his wings was so huge, and the moon was out, the stars was out, it was bright, and this thing jumped off the cliff, and it was falling towards them, and then it just flew right over their head and went south like that. And there's a lot of reports, like in Tucson area, people getting picked up by these things and getting parts of their insides eaten by these things, and even like coming into people on the Navajo Nation, seeing them fly around, and even being on rooftops, messing with people's homes, messing with people, and even all the way into Apache land. I have this witness. He's a former tribal police officer. He got called out to one. He went to that house and he knocked on the door, And this lady, she didn't open the door. She's like, are you real? Are you a person? He's like, I think I am. This is a police department. You called? Are you okay? And she opened the door a little bit. She's like, there's a ladder around the corner. The gargoyle's up there. Boom, close it. And he's like, what do you mean a gargoyle? He's like, go around the corner. There's a ladder. The house, go up there. He's up there right now. And he made his way over there and he got his flashlight ready. He was making his way up the ladder and he yelled out, if you're up there, you better not scare me. I don't like getting scared. If you scare me, I'm gonna be really mad at you. And he got to the top. He got on the roof and he turned his flashlight over on the side of the corner, and there was a gray being standing there. It turned around, his horns, huge horns that jumped up into the sky, his wings spread out, and boom, gone. And then like another call, he said that he was being followed by EMT because on the reservations the nearest backup is not a police officer. It's usually a EMT or fire department. They help the police officer out in need. So they had an EMT behind this police officer, and the EMT has a lot of lights. So they had all their lights on. And then he got out of his car and he was walking. He was tracking something. He said, I can't remember what the story was. He was tracking something. And then they're going over to the cliff. The EMT was in their vehicle behind him, lit up the whole area. He was getting closer to the cliff, and this gargoyle flew right in front of them, right up into the sky. And then those EMTs got on the speaker, like, "Did you see that?" He's like, "I did." And like, that thing is way bigger than you. But he ran back into his unit, and we got that guy wandering around Arizona skies. We have a lot of canyons.
Is that what you guys call them? Is that
Say
what
that
you
again?
call them? Gargoyles?
Yeah, gargoyle.
Is that you call they got okay? Because
Yeah.
gargoyles are supposed to be protectors, right?
I guess so. Maybe in Europe, but not here. But not here. They'll scoop you up.
Well, let me blow that off. That was hot.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
I've never heard of them with horns.
Yeah, horns and everything. I made some AI art.
I love you, buddy.
I made some AI art of that gargoyle, and I sent it to him, and he told me one of the art was the closest thing towards it, so it's pretty scary. A lot of the Anasazis opened a lot of portals up, and a lot of these monsters came through. That's a lot of the origins that come from. Yep, and then those skinwalkers, you can get into a portal. You have to be invited by the head honcho. These portals, they teach things that you go to a solid rock wall, and if you believe, you can go through that wall. So these portals in Navajo are called Inti Bahuan, translates to the house for your hidden activities. So it's a portal, and then when you go through these portals, you're in another dimension. But that's what I forgot to tell.
I'm still laughing at you. I just did not expect.
Oh man, yeah. I try to think things through before it slips out my mouth.
No, it's okay. He's used to that from me. Don is so used. Don's got thick skin since we've been co-hosted. David wants to know. I love you, David. Have you seen dinosaurs or supposed extinct animals?
Yeah, we have them on the Navajo Nation. We still find their tracks from time to time, especially on them high mesas where nobody is. There is the dinosaur lizard man. I have a witness that's seen him crawling up on the tree, and he's looking at it in his binoculars and tracking it. This thing is moving, running through canyons, flying like not flying, but running, moving fast, and it sticks its tongue out to smell the air. Yellow eyes, 5 fingers. We have there's stories of them. They have their own cave, and they can cloak if they want. They can speak Navajo too. And then when you go into a sacred mountain, they say not one dirt, not one rock leaves this mountain. If it does, we're coming for you. And my in-laws, they had pictures of one going after my wife's uncle, and they said that it looked like it had his cloaking device on like Predator, and it was trying to reach for his legs as he is climbing up the mountain. They said they can see it. It was reaching up. And there's different sizes. There's 14 foot, 7 foot. You know, they're taller than trees. They're watching. They actually see him. They had the pictures, but when he passed away, you know, a lot of things went missing with him. You know, and they do have these deep cave systems, you know, that they come from. And we have a lot of stories of them. You know, don't follow them, especially for me, you know, from investigating Bigfoot. You know, it's very taboo to talk about him. And Navajo, they say you can keep following him, but the longer you follow him, there's going to be a big rock on your tent, or there's going to be a big boulder on your head when we find you, or he'll carry you off. You're never going to be found again. And then, like, even talking about skinwalkers, you know, it's a big no. Then, like, even you're going to medicine man, he knows the skinwalker that's giving you hardship. He won't give you the identity. You know, it's just sly stuff that goes on. You know, the more you go run around at night, you'll find out what really goes on, what's really going on in this reality instead of this make believe world that we're living in right now. You know, the real reality's out there. You know, and it's fun. I like it. It's weird and scary. You know, I think that's what we all need in our lifetime is get that little rush to help get that blood pumping in your heart. You know, all that we need that from time to time, just like we need a cold bath in the winter. You know, because that mountain, you have to go to those mountains during the wintertime and take a shower. So we all need that from time to time,
Right.
and yeah, we need to like learn about these creatures because when our time is done here, our children are going to be with these things. So you know, the more we learn about them, the more we figure them out, learn more about their patterns, then we can, you know, coexist with them, you know, more safely or
Do
teach our
you
kids
have
about these things.
do you have little people out there?
Yeah, yeah, they're they're they they're very tricky subject. Because going back to the culture story, the old Navajo gods were the little people with the mask and different things like all the Hopi gods, all those guys with different ritual mask and headdress. That's the little people. Because in the last flood, some of us escaped with the little people down in them holes, them caverns, and they taught us songs. Because the last world, before it was destroyed, we used to speak with the animals. We used to speak with every little living thing in the same language. And then when the last destruction, the last world, we came to this world and we couldn't communicate with the animals anymore. And
Right.
you know, they helped us out a lot. They taught us songs, how to heal, you know, how to help out with your emotional, you know, mental drama, you know, your PTSDs. You know, everything has a song for, you know, for healing. So these little guys, they taught us that, and for the crow, that's their deity, straight up, little people. And being on Crowland, they really are there. They come out at night. It's pretty amazing. And I have a lot of eyewitness accounts of them being stalked by numerous little people all day while herding sheep. They're following around, and they got close where they're scary. They're ugly little beings with little weapons
Yeah.
following them.
Big
Yeah, they
nose.
said they're like about like 2-3 feet tall, ugly.
Right.
And then
Now,
then we have another
they don't
have
have
another
any
wicked one.
they don't have any hair on their body either, right?
Um, from my from the witness account, he does. They do, but it's more of a little mohawk and then
Oh
their
yeah,
ear
yeah.
is pointy. Yeah, and they have their own style clothes. And they did follow this eyewitness. Then another time was his mom too. They like to follow women and children. And this other part of the reservation, the western side, they actually control a portal because we escaped the flood through a portal on this side, this exact area. And its name is a portal too in Navajo. So every portal in our way, we call it the Rainbow Bridge because when you see a real portal, you'll see the outline is a rainbow, and then inside is red, and then outside of the rainbow is black portal, and these things come in and out of it, and those ones they look like the gnome looking ones with the hat and the little
Yeah.
beard. Yeah, they come out of that one, and a giant black bat crawls out of that one too.
A
Then the
giant
one,
bat. Wait a minute. You can't just throw that out there, Navajo Don, and just keep going now. A giant bat.
oh,
What
oh
the
man,
hell?
it gets crazy. And then like even a black dog comes out running around too fast. You can't shoot it. It makes your GoPro shut off. You can't have no evidence. It's weird. And even that pterodactyl comes out of that portal and it flies around. It screams. And then that portal closes. This thing's flying around. The pterodactyl in the sky. I found his tracks too. And the portal opens up, and this pterodactyl will fly right back in, gone. You know,
It's like a thinning
so
of the veil.
yeah, like it starts around afternoon, and no one doesn't want to stick around after the sun goes down. Then some parts of the canyon, you see a big cube in the sky, and it's shooting lights off of it, and it's making its own little city. Some the witnesses say it looks like like Optimus Prime and all those robot like things are being made in these deep canyons. A lot of strange things that goes on. Like the worst ones I seen, or the ones that I try to take a picture of. My cell phone couldn't do no justice because up in the sky there was like a mothership, a gigantic ship, and all these UFOs were shooting out of it. Hundreds of UFOs making circles, squares, triangles, and they're falling to Earth. And they're coming back again, and they're chasing each other, and they go back in formation, a circle. They all fall to the Earth and disappear, and they come back again, making a different angle, different shape, all night until the sun comes up. Until like around 7 o'clock, the sun's out. You can't see them anymore. So there's something going on all the time. And one time we're playing hide and go seek, and one snuck up to my uncle. He snuck off the mesa. He didn't want to be found. There's this mesa that's like a mile, probably a little bit bigger than a mile and a half long by 3/4 of a mile wide. So that was our hide and go seek grounds at night, and only the seekers had flashlights, and we had to be in 3 pairs or two. We couldn't be alone. So my uncle, he broke off from his pair. He climbed off the mesa and he was hiding behind a bush. He's watching everything up there. And then these pebbles started hitting him, and he's looking back, nothing. And the third one hit him. He hurried up and turned around. And this bush right behind him, he said he's seen a big alien hands and a big old alien head with the almond eyes looking at him. And everyone heard him screaming. He ran back up the mesa. Everyone had to tell him to calm down. He's having a panic attack. And we all had to go back down to my great grandma's. And everyone woke up. We all got yelled at again. So we always get yelled at for being out at night. And they're like, you're going to run into the children of the night. Don't go out at night. You're going to run into them. They keep saying it. We keep doing it. And so we really ran into basically everything, almost everything. My cousin ran into a Centaur. Now that one's another can of worms. And I have another witnesses that ran into another Centaur on the wash. These guys are another can of worms. Pretty amazing though.
What was that? A scimitar?
Yeah, half man, half horse.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Wait. Get back at this bat out of hell. I mean, it's, you can't just throw that out there and just keep on talking. Like, I mean, come
Yeah,
on now. I'm from
I'm gonna
North
have to share
Carolina.
that until next time. I was just kidding. I was just kidding.
So it's a product of some lonely cowboys.
No. These we always known about these creatures. Like they always been a part of us. You know, we like a lot of these story time books. You know, we already knew about them. You know, same thing with the Bible. We already had that same thing played out here with us. Same stories from the Bible. We have the same thing in our culture. So that's why like a lot of Navajos are Christian because it's the same thing. It's strange, you know. What was
So,
your question again?
Don,
Oh,
What's that?
all right. I kind of
oh,
got lost on your question while I was
Don, we were
talking.
Don, we were talking about how you're rocking that new beard, by the way. Um, so Navajo Don, is there anything that we've hit on that you wanted to get out? And we've had you going on 2 hours. I don't know how long you want to stay or how much you want to share.
Oh, I'm probably gonna hop off pretty soon. Yeah,
Okay,
if you don't mind.
I do mind, but um, we're not trying to hold somebody against their will.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. It's the weekend.
What are you going to do? Go chase a bat coming out of a portal, little people?
Oh no. Just hang out. Just hang out and love life and enjoy life. That's all we can do, right? Instead of
Mhm.
worrying about tomorrow and about yesterday, just try to make today the best you can. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like right now, my time is with you guys, and I'm really, I'm still new to this community, you know, and
Well, you're
it's
part of the
actually,
family now.
oh, thank you. Actually, feels good to be part of something. I always been a lone wolf, you know, doing things on my own all the time, and I got out of my little cave working with Jevening research, you know. Now I'm gonna be going out more, you know, with my podcast is gonna be called Don't Whistle at Night podcast.
Don't whistle
Because
at
if
night.
you yeah, because if you whistle at night, because that's how Bigfoot hunts at night, he whistles. So he'll whistle back like, hey, someone's called me over here. He's coming. So
All
you gotta be
right.
careful when you whistle. But if it's not Bigfoot, it's the Skinwalkers will come. And there's always two. There's never one alone.
I'll make a deal with you. Tell one more
Oh,
story and we'll let you go.
oh, shake the
Podcast. Get your
moccasins.
podcast out there now.
um, I don't know. What should I share? Let's see.
One more
I'll share my
question.
cousin Senator. I'll share my cousin Senator story.
Okay, one more question. V wants to know, do the little people wear clothes?
It just except on the beach in France. I was just kidding. Yeah, they do. They do. They have they have clothes their own style of clothes. We got some that like same clothes as the Native Americans. You know, they roam this mountain. They dress like the old school way. You know, the loincloth, the bow arrow, everything. The little hide. They have that the same thing. And then the portal little people, they have more of the gnome looking type clothing going on. It's it's far out. It's far out.
Okay. All right, your last story.
Yeah.
Then you can go, sir. We will release you.
Oh, my laptop's about to die.
Make it fast.
So out in Miami Valley, we have this water trough outside the Hogan for all the horses, the feral horses from far and wide. You know, we love horses. So we give the horses water all the time. So this one night, three of my cousins were jumping outside the trampoline. It's like around 11 o'clock at night. And my aunt, she yells to the three boys, two of them are hers outside. She's like, you better get inside before the skinwalker gets you. And then her two boys, they're younger, they jumped off the trampoline, they ran inside right away. And then my cousin, he was a little bit older, he was in his preteens, and he was laughing at the two boys running. So you guys are scared, and he was jumping in a circle, looking around. And he said he heard a horse coming. walking. And he was making his 360. And when he was coming towards the area where it was coming from, he said the Hogan had a porch light, and this thing came into the light. It had a black horse's lower body, then his upper body was a male's torso, and it had white face paint and long black hair, and his eyes was red. And I guess he said that he jumped off his trampoline onto the porch, onto the door. He said the whole time his eyes was locked on him. He doesn't know how he got from the trampoline to the porch to the door. And he said he was trying to open the screen door, and when it opened, this thing was walking up on the ramp, and this thing was in the light. It was coming towards him up the ramp. This thing was so tall. He made it inside, and he was screaming, and my aunt yelled at it. She said, "Get out of here! Go bother that person on that road right there." Because it was a dirt road. Someone was driving on that road, and the senator took off from ran off the porch. The ramp ran to the dirt road, and that car, they're looking out the window, that car stopped. And it was parked there for a few minutes, and that car peeled off. That car was probably like about a half a mile away. And the car peeled off, and they heard the senator galloping back. And when it got to the Hogan, it was doing his war cry. And it was running around trailer really fast. And then another witness said that she was running in a wash, and said that she seen it. She basically met up to it. And this thing was tall, she said, and it was the lower body was a horse, a buckskin color, and his body was dark brown skin, and he was fit, and his hair was black, jet black hair. He had thick hair, and his eyes was huge, and it was all black, and it had yellow face paint on. And he said, seeing the lady, it jumped back, and he took off into the wash and ran up over the hill. And we have Navajo PD seeing that too as well. And this other part of the reservation, these people they observed them playing with their dogs outside, like a baby centaur with a whole like 20 centaurs family outside this house, this Hogan, and this little centaurs are playing with this dog outside. And even Bigfoot coming off the mesas and playing with the dog, and even giving the dog some ribeye steak like they took from a cow. Even the fillet, the filet mignon, they give it to the dog. They feed the dog. The dog knows them sometimes too. So if dogs can talk, you know what I mean? Just imagine what they can say.
Wow.
So
Well, Don, you've had so
Now-
many compliments in the go ahead, Don.
oh,
Don, do you have something you want to say?
What?
Did you have something?
Oh
you
no, I
wanted
was going to ask him. Yeah, is the scimitar a portal creature?
to-
I have no idea. I have no idea. It's on a league of its own, and medicine men know about them.
Right.
They'll communicate with them because the medicine men will go to and from in a like magic, and then they'll run into other things running around too, like Sasquatches, the Scimitar, even the giant Cocopelis. Right now, the old Navajo gods are running around, and the Hopi gods are running around right now. They're coming out. And there's a lot of stories of these schools, these cross-country runners being chased by a giant Navajo deity, chasing them for miles. So, I don't know. But Navajo Nation is a ley line on the grid of a magical grid. And, we have strange correlations here. No one can explain it. I just want to capture evidence.
33rd parallel, the ley line.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Little Twisted, I think, was talking about a portal that was on the 33rd parallel in Alabama. One that Mark was telling me about. But Don,
Medicine men can open portals up anywhere, anytime, any place. As long as you have the songs, and as long as you know the songs that go with the color as you're making the doorway. It's a circle doorway. each color that they apply on there is a different song, and that can take for hours. But as soon as they make that painting on the ground, the sand painting, you can look it up, sand painting. But when the cameras stop rolling and there's no white people, those guys make that doorway open. They make the painting in the daytime for show, but at nighttime, when there's only Navajos, they show their true power. They make this magic work, and it's crazy, crazy.
As crazy as crazy does, Don.
Yeah, like the old swastika used to be our symbol for power because Mother Earth gave us that power to rule over her, to take care of her.
Lightning bolts.
Yeah, and we don't know how Hitler figured that out. Oh yeah, he was with the Braille Society, the other cult in Europe. So it's a cultic sign, maybe.
There's a long history to that, but you mentioned the lightning bolt earlier being one of the most powerful family symbols you could have.
Yeah, especially
That,
when they strike a tree. Like they strike a tree, and you can go dig into that tree or underneath that tree, and you'll find a tunnel, and then you'll run into those little people, and that's how you can enter their world. So keep an eye on the trees, the lightning struck trees. Us Navajo are all told never to go near a struck tree. Don't touch it. Don't think about touching it. Don't think about touching it. Because when you go in there, those little people will take you, and they'll never give you back.
wow.
Yeah.
So Don, I know you got to go. You're ready to go. It's the weekend. You want to spend time with your family. We already got several requests to have you back. So we hopefully in the future here shortly you'll come back with us and share some more. I think we lost some. Also, thank you for being a part of the Muddy Creek family. And I think his computer finally died on us. You guys go hit his, look up his YouTube channel. And let me get this. If you want to contact him, let me take this off. You put that up there. Thank you, V. There's his email right here. You can reach out to them, check them out on YouTube, and want to thank everybody in chat tonight. You guys are the best. You make it really great. Anytime you're in chat and you have a podcast, please throw it up there. You're welcome to, you know, put your podcast out there. We're going to support you. Also, be looking for me on Night Owls with Misty. It's going to be a late show. We're going to cover everything from just my near-death experience, my work with animals, my time in law enforcement, a little bit of cryptid stuff. Sky's the limit on that. So I'm pretty sure that Misty will be giving you guys a date here shortly. So that will be a late show. Okay. So I appreciate everyone in the chat. Don, you want to say anything in closing?
I just want to say thank you to everyone in the chat, and thanks for putting questions up there. Definitely helps us out. And everybody have a great night.
Riley, Misty's channel is Woodwalkers. But you guys have a good channel. We got Bigfoot 911, Cryptid, O-Line Cryptids. Let's see, I got Bigfoot 911, O-Line Cryptids, Southern Belle Bigfoot dropped in. I know I'm missing PJ Arkansas. She's got the best Bigfoot encounters on there. PJ Arkansas, just one of the many that have jumped in and joined us tonight. So thank you guys for your support. We love you. Don, you rock the beard. I think Judy Willer is really impressed with the beard too. I think you got a fan there, buddy.
Oh no, it'll be gone soon.
I shaved mine, so
my hair will be gone soon.
It's called a hairbrush, Don.
It'll all be gone soon. Usually the first day of spring, I shave everything.
Yeah, that's when I start shaving too, so go figure.
Okay.
All right, Don. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.